Hi everyone, welcome to Etang de Berniere. I'm with Johnny Mac, the co-owner of what is, as you can see behind me, a pretty awesome lake. We've got over 30 acres here of gin clear, carp-packed water. And while I'm out here filming a quick 3-day trip, a winter trip with John and his fellow co-owner, I thought I'd grab a few minutes with him and get a bit of general info about the lake, how you can book and pricing and things like that. Thank you, John, for having us for a start. What a place.
Yeah, you're welcome, mate. I'm glad you like it.
I mean, when you love summer in the winter, you can only imagine how beautiful and how much you're going to love it in the summer. So, you know, it's not a scary water. It's a big piece of water, but it's manageable, which I think would suit everyone. No one's going to be out of their depth, which is nice. The main thing I think I wanted to get across from what you've taught me and what we've driven around and talked about,
Yep.
You are, whether you like it or not, very well known as one of the big names in big carp fishing. So you've come over here in France and you've put all that knowledge, all of what you've liked about fisheries in the past,
Yep.
into this place. And there's a few things I wanted to talk about: the social element of the place and what you've provided, the facilities that are here, and then obviously the stock and the sort of fishing people can expect.
Sure.
So let's start with the lake itself: size, amount of swims, how many people, and things like that.
Okay, so basically, like you say, it's a 31.6 acre gravel pit. It's 30 years old, so it's nice and mature, and the depths are roughly sort of 12 to 16 feet.
So we're at the lodge end pretty much here. We're 2/3 of the way down from where you enter when you first get here, for those that are coming along this year. The lodge is 600, 500 yards that way.
Yep.
Is there a difference in depth? Is there a shallow and a deep end, or?
It's not very obvious, but ever so slightly, I would say around that peninsula there is sort of 16 foot, possibly 17 at the minute where the water's up, and it sort of comes through here 15, it's probably 13 foot, so yeah,
a
ever
slight
so
change.
Slight, yeah.
So, you know, you're not going, oh, I've got to be at that end in the summer.
No.
There will be everywhere all year round.
Also in the summer, the water level's down about 3 or 4 foot from now, so the general depth is sort of 10 to 13, you know, sort of a little bit less.
So people that have watched the film that we've produced as well will think, Jesus, there's a lot of water in there. As you say, we've got probably 2-3 foot of extra water in here at the moment.
At the moment.
We're in February, middle of February. We've had a load of rain while we've been here, load of rain in the past few weeks. A few rivers have burst their banks locally,
Yep.
and it's all seeped in.
Sure.
And as a result, we've got an awful lot of water. So we've probably got 33 acres at
Possibly,
the moment.
yeah.
But yeah, so it's comfortable whether there's a load of water in it or not. So yeah, so we've got the depths, comfortable depths to fish all throughout the lake. They're not going to congregate in one place or another, which is great for people that are here, you know, that can't get where they thought they wanted to be.
Yep.
Swim numbers, is it crammed? Is everyone going to be like
No.
sardines,
I
or?
mean, at the end of the day, there's 13 swims, and as you can see, they're really spaced out nicely. You know, there's 60, 70, 80 yards, even probably 200 yards to that next one down there. And 13 swims, 5 are doubles, 8 are singles. And the double swims are really very popular. They're all in key areas on the lake that command quite a lot of water. So quite often,
if you are doubled up, you're not tight. It's purposely a double because the amount of water you've got to go at.
exactly, yeah.
Perfect.
And so, you know, the maximum we're allowing on at any one time is possibly 12 people.
Okay, so you're always going to, even if you're at full booking, you've got shed loads of water.
Well, look, put it this way, you know,
Two acres each.
there's always at least 2 or 3 couples in the double swims.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, if you've got 6 people in 3 swims, there's 6 people left to fish 9 swims. You know, there's always a bit of room.
It's important to say, we're in February 2015. This isn't open yet, publicly, to the public. You've had mates out here, work parties and things like that. So that's the only, when we talk about areas and stuff, that's the only people that have fished it. So these fish are still fairly naive when it comes to rigs, lines, bait and all the rest of it. They're not clued up.
Really simple fishing, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we're opening in end of March this year? Is
Yeah,
that the first booking of the year?
First week in April.
Okay, so it will be lovely and lush, starting to be nice and warm.
The people coming in April are going to have a really good time.
Yeah.
It's going to fish really well.
Okay, perfect. So that's a little bit of an insight into the lake. Is there many sort of features under the water, or is it barren?
It's fairly uniform, although there are certain gradients in the height of the water and the depths of the water. There's the odd bar, the odd sort of wide sandy area, gravel and that. But as a rule of thumb, there's plenty of clear areas within all of the swims.
There is a bit of weed, which is nice. It's something to fish to.
As the weed does come up, it's normally that low-lying sort of weed that only sort of sits up about
So
8 or 9 inches.
You haven't got to worry about top to bottom, snagging fish all day because you can't move them. It's manageable weed that you can get through.
I will point out that there are 1 or 2 areas that have the odd strands of tall weed, and that is one of my strictest things that I like people to do, is just to have strong line. I mean, like you said, going back to what you said about keeping the social side of things and like the common sense aspect is really mainly what prevails here. I just want people to use strong line in case a fish does manage to get into a little bit of weed and you're trying to pull for a break. You've got light line with a leader on, and then all of a sudden you've got a fish towing something.
Because they do brawl in here, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Everyone says it, the hardest fighting fish I've ever felt. But this place is renowned from the people that have been out here already. The first thing I ever hear when someone says is, Jesus, they pull your arm off.
They really do.
I mean, the one I've had already, 3 or 4 times I thought we were ready for the net. Bosh, he's off again, arm was aching. Proper battle. And that wasn't even one of the big girls. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, if you're sort of like playing fish for 40 minutes.
Yeah,
sometimes,
right, okay.
honestly, yeah.
And they're not even necessarily the real big ones of Berniere. They're just, some of them are just manic.
Like the fish that are around about 30 pounders, some of them really scrap, really do, yeah.
And they like a kite as well, don't they? So when you're talking about the weed, that's where you've got to have your head on.
Sure.
Because obviously there are places on the lake that you've designated as little social zones. You've built proper barbecues for people. Yeah. So in that sort of situation, you're happy for someone with a remote to go 100 yards up to the barbecue, but if they're fishing next to one of the thicker weed beds, which one of the bailiffs would have pointed out, have some common sense, really. That's what we're talking. Yeah. Okay, cool. So going on to those social areas then, obviously we'll have a look at the lodge on this little interview later and the surroundings, what you've got there. Yeah. But talk us through you've got little zones, so you haven't got to be in the lodge to have a barbecue.
You've got the main area down there, seating, shelter, showers, toilets, barbecue area, all the rest of it. And then also on one of the little peninsulas down there, on one of the little knuckles, there's benches and a barbecue. And further down the other end again, there's another bench area with barbecue near Christmas Tree Lawn, right down the far end of the lake, which is one of the prettiest parts of the lake, I must say.
Yeah, it's even now it's nice and lush and green and looks like a beautiful place to sit. Yeah. And there's another barbecue sort of 2/3 up this bank that way as well, isn't there?
That's it. Yeah, that's the one I said on the knuckle.
So pretty much anywhere. Yeah. Most places you're within reason. You don't have to be near a barbecue. If you're there on your own and you don't fancy being around a group that might want to be social, it's not like you can't get away.
Yeah, but one thing I want to point out as well is they are in the areas where, if you're fishing and you want quiet and a bit more sensible sort of time to yourself, then the areas aren't intruding on your privacy.
Yeah. I even noticed when we were talking yesterday that you'd put one of the barbecues slightly off the bank and slightly further behind the thickest bit of tree on that area, so you can't even see it from the. That's the sort of thing that, with your experience, that it's been so well thought out on all those different little nooks and crannies. Things like the parking.
Exactly, I was just going to say,
That to me, as someone who thinks they're a serious angler, I think that's a nice touch. That suits me. So just tell us about the parking.
So basically, you can drive around the entire lake, virtually park in your swim. Having said that, the parking spot is just adjacent to your swim behind the bushes, so that you're looking across the lake from any angle and you're not looking at cars. That's
because you do notice, don't you? If it's there all week, it is a bit of an eyesore opposite.
Of course it is,
So even with the trees as sparse as they are now, you can't see the cars. They're behind the thickest areas. So as John says, you're on the other bank. You're not confronted with what looks like a campsite on the far bank, which is just another little tweak that makes a difference. It's important.
Of course it does,
It would to me, and I'm sure it would to others.